Welcome to the Needless Things podcast. We've got a great interview tonight. So great that I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I have some copy here that I'm going to read because it's so well done. I can't not take advantage of it. So here we go. Howard Quiggly Chang is the creator of Ancientz, a bold new universe where spirit-fueled robots battle darkness, and one of the original creative forces behind the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toy phenomenon. As the lead toy concept artist at Varner Studios, Quigley spent nearly a decade designing some of the most iconic TMNT action figures of the late 80s and 90s, leaving an unforgettable mark on pop culture. But Quigley's story doesn't end there. After stepping away from the toy world, he built a thriving career in manufacturing and marketing consulting, becoming a successful businessman. Then, about 10 years ago, in the midst of personal struggles, he experienced a life changing spiritual awakening that led him back to his roots in art and storytelling with a new sense of purpose. That is great. What a hook.
Thank you. That sounds good.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. We're excited to run the gamut tonight.
Well, thank you for having me on today. Appreciate it.
So that is like I said, that's a heck of a hook. But we got to start at the beginning. Back in the day, you worked on Ninja Turtles. We'll get to that in a minute. I want to get to before that. How did you get into art and design? How did you end up wanting to create art and design action figures?
Well, it just came on to me. It was like a fluke, actually. I just graduated high school. I was always the best artist in class. One of those guys. I was in the newspaper designing cartoons, drawing cartoons. I was the best artist amongst my classmen. And summer of 1989, I just graduated high school. My mom wanted me to get a job. So I had a job at Blockbuster Video lined up. You may have heard of it. Some people may know what that is. But my mom found an ad in the newspaper for a sculptor. And I didn't really sculpt, but hey, might as well give it a shot, right? It's more creative than working at Blockbuster. So we bought some water clay, made a little Batman, took it into the interview. I didn't like the sculpture, but they liked me and hired me on the spot. So I ended up in the mold room making molds for these toys. I didn't know anything about them. I didn't know what the Ninja Turtles were. It was 89. It came out the year before.
Yeah.
So I'm making molds, and it was one night right before I was going to go home. Playmates Toys asked them to us if anybody knew how to draw. Can you guys draw up something? It was the mech Fugitoid. They gave us a rough of what it's supposed to look like, and I drew up real quick, and I left. They faxed it over, and I came back the next morning, and my desk was gone, and I thought I got fired for some reason. They said, no. They loved it so much. All you're going to do is start designing toys. They gave me my own office in the back, all the pencils, and everything I needed.
That's amazing. And that Fugitoid, look, as soon as you said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fugitoid, people of a certain age pictured that little gold robot, which have you still got it sitting there with you?
Yeah.
You had him a second ago.
Well, this was the drawing I had done.
Original drawing.
So it's a book that shows it. And then, this is a gift from a fan that just gave it to me. This is the remake that you just talked about that just came out from Playmates.
And that original Fugitoid, yes, that chest action and then all the attachments that came with him, loved that figure when I was younger because I was full on collecting Ninja Turtles at that time.
Yeah. Awesome.
And it's that toy line, well, the comic books as well, but the toy line was really formative of my taste in pop culture and in toys. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more about influencing people's sort of tastes and having an impact on them through toys, through art. But before we get to that, so you get dream job, 18 years old, do the work right, and now you're designing Ninja Turtles toys. Just talk a little bit about your time there and maybe some of the more fun stuff you got to work on design wise.
Oh yeah, I mean the first one was Fugitoid. I'll never forget it. That's the one that landed me that position. Second one was Space Usagi Yojimbo. There was Usagi, but I spaced it out. I ended up staying there for almost 8 years, about 8 years.
Wow.
So the first summer I was there, I left for college. I came back for winter break. They said, "You're welcome anytime" at Varner Studios, the company that hired me. And it was just that's why I took the long route in college. I was working part time and going to school part time, working all summers and winters. I, hundreds of turtles were designed. I think most of them made it through. But one of the most important parts of why I was there, why I was so instrumental, the turtles were selling so fast. It was flying off the shelves. So they couldn't come out with enough designs. It was first Mirage Studios with Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird. They had their own design team, and what initially the first few months they would ask us to design something. We'd put the designs together, get it approved, that whole process. But within a year, I just come in. They say, "Hey, design whatever you want." So I just come in with so much freedom to come in. You know what? What about military? Yeah, one of my favorite ones was the Navy SEAL turtle, right? So yeah,
Let's see. This guy?
that's the one. So the book that came out of all our stuff in 2022, they found there was a vault at Varner Studios. They found like thousands of original art, and then the son-in-law of Steve Varner put it together, made it into a book, and this is it, the Varner Studio sketchbook.
And I love seeing that because before we got on, we were kind of talking about how we seem to be in a little bit of a different age now where designers, because back then, when the line was at its height, nobody even knew what Varner Studios was. People collecting those toys, kids playing with those toys, whatever, would never even have heard that name. I hadn't even heard it till probably about 10 years ago. And now, though, you know the name of the design studio. You probably know the name of the person who runs it. You know the name of the sculptors, the designers, the art, like all the artists who work on it, people who do the packaging. And I think it's really wonderful that toys and their creators are being recognized in sort of the world of art in the way that they are.
All right, like Steve Varner, my old boss. We're still good friends. We see each other all the time. He lives real close by. He was the guy who originally sculpted the pitch turtle that got the okay, the look and feel of what the turtle's supposed to look like. He's the one who sculpted it, and he's kind of a legend in the turtle world right now. There's a whole
Yeah.
new documentary that's going to come out pretty soon, and I get to work with him. Right?
And you mentioned that they just couldn't come up with designs fast enough. And looking back, the toy line was in an interesting place because initially it was pulling from the stuff Eastman and Laird did in Mirage, but it kind of that ran out of subject matter. And then the toy line didn't often pull from the cartoon. Like it really was its own thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, Playmates Toys was the first company that took the IP, licensed it to make toys, right? And I work with them. I still do some work with Playmates right now, but how they operate, it's all about marketing. They get the toy idea and they come out with a cartoon that shows, back then at least, Saturday morning cartoons, and all that. So that's part of the process, to create a cartoon to fit their toy line.
Yeah, it just had to be really exciting to have that kind of creative freedom in such a substantial way, because this wasn't, it's funny because sometimes we say, oh, well, if you weren't around back then, you don't know just how big it was. But I think everybody knows how big Ninja Turtles was because it has never really gone away as a franchise.
I mean, it just hit the 40-year anniversary last year,
Mm-hmm.
since the first comic book came out. And I know the toys came out in 1988, so we're going to be on the 40-year
Yeah.
anniversary for that pretty soon. And yeah, what I realized at Comic Con when I went is, I'm a fan of something. Like, let's say I love Jaguar automobiles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love it, but there's some people like me who knows who designed those cars,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then that's who you meet at Comic-Con. People are like really super fans. They don't know they're not just fans of the action figures. They know who created it and the inspiration behind it.
So over that 8 years of working with Varner Studios, which by the way, it's got to be blowing people's minds that it was a college student working part-time designing some of their favorite toys ever made.
Not even
What do you remember just some of your favorites, like some that after Fugitoid, which the level of detail, the circuitry and everything in that figure, and then you mentioned Space Usagi, who is another one who has lots of little sort of technological detail. Was that something you liked throwing in?
Oh yeah, I love the little details of everything, and I think that's what the turtles were. The toys were really known for, all the small little details. And for example, I was kind of looking for this, but one of my favorites, like you said in the book, is like we talked about, the Navy SEAL turtle.
Oh yeah.
That was the first sketch made in 1991. So I would come out with the different views, and once they say okay to it, I would this is Sergeant Bananas, do a detail. If you look at the details on it, you'll see little eels sticking out, the limpet mines and all that. Little knife right there. And then if you make into a toy like this, turn around.
And it looks like, just from the few sketches I've seen, it looks like it stays pretty true to the original sketch most of the time.
Not all the time. Like, not the way I would like it as a designer, but pretty close. I mean, at Varna Studios, the sculptors are right there with us, so I can go in there and bug them, saying that that's too small, that's too big, and all that. So I can kind of operate that way.
What was it? So when you're doing a sketch like that, are you considering where the points of articulation are going to go? Because obviously the standards at the hips and the shoulders, but sometimes they had a wrist or an elbow that would swivel or whatever. Is that something you're conscious of, or do they later come in and determine how that's going to work?
At first I did it, but more through the years, I get more conscious of that because I'm right there next to them. So I would design it knowing where the articulations would happen. I sculpted at least 3 of the figures myself, because there wasn't enough sculptors to finish everything.
And as far as the accessories and everything that would come with them, was that typically part of what you were designing, or did those sometimes things kind of get added on depending on what the need was?
Pretty much did most of it. That was one of the fun parts too, all the accessories and details. And yeah, we would actually design them ourselves.
Oh, I love knowing that it's just knowing that it was as true as it could be to that original concept as it moved through the process, because that doesn't always happen.
Right.
So as Ninja Turtles got bigger and bigger and bigger, because if you were there from 89 to I guess about 97-ish, then you really did see like peak years there. From your point of view, what was it like being a part of that phenomenon?
I didn't really know. I was too young to even realize what was happening. I got good at it. I was just all I knew how to draw was turtles. I go home, people want me to draw something, I just draw a turtle. It's just so natural to me. Even today, I can draw a turtle really, really quick, right? But I didn't really realize it till recently. Actually, I kind of left all that.
Yeah, yeah.
About 5 years ago, I started going back to Comic-Con, helping Steve Varner at his booth and meeting people. And I realized there were so many fans that were touched and affected by the toys I designed like 3 decades ago. And that was moving to me and inspiring to me as well.
And that's as I've talked to creators over the years, that is kind of a common thread, where if you were in it back in the day, you may have loved the job, but it was a job. You were doing work, and it didn't, even if there was a big cultural impact at the time, like Turtles, you weren't necessarily aware at the time that it would resonate for years and years and years. And I think that's probably pretty common with stuff like that.
I mean, you just said it. It's called a job, right? So
yeah.
You go in the morning. I was pretty fast at what I do. I draw a bunch of turtles and I have fun at that time. But when you go home, you don't want to draw turtles anymore. You don't want to draw anymore. So it becomes a job, and I think that's part of the reason why I left. I got kind of burnt out, and how many more turtles can I draw, right?
Sure. Yeah, well, no, and look, I get it because that line is so prolific, so many releases, but at the end of the day, after drawing uh that style of character for 7 years, I can see where you just run out of gas. You're like, all right,
Yeah, I mean, it was just designing toys in general. It wasn't just the turtles. We worked on Star Trek back then. We had
oh wow, really?
yeah, Star Trek, just the toys and how they were, their weapons and their poses. And there was a funny story for Queen Borg one time. We, we didn't have access to pictures and Playmates toys. They wanted us to design a play set. I had to go to the movies and film it myself during the movie. Use it for reference.
Oh wow, that's very different because now designers are getting designs straight from the film set of the
Before it comes
digital.
out, and even before the
Yeah,
movie comes out, you have everything.
yeah. Oh, that's wild. So how did that? So you're working for Varner Studios, and I hadn't even thought about the fact that because Playmates output at the time, Star Trek was huge, Turtles were huge. How did that come across your desk? And when they said, "Hey, do some Star Trek stuff," was that was it exciting just because it was a little different, or was it kind of like, it's people?
Well, that's one. We did Flash Gordon. We worked on a lot of Happy Meal toys and Burger King toys. It wasn't just Playmate stuff. We had a lot of stuff going, but I would say 75% was all Playmates, and majority of that was Turtles throughout the years. But yeah, it's exciting. It's always fun to work on something different, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it had to be. It's funny how if initially you had just been designing just humans from Star Trek, it might not have been quite as engaging, but once that came along, it was probably like, okay, cool, this is different from the monster bulls I've been doing or whatever.
Exactly.
So you move through that. You kind of find that you've done all you need to do in that world. What happens at that point? What do you move on to?
Um, Decades of trying something different. I mean, I started many businesses. A couple of them did pretty well, but business is all about starting and failing, right? So I
Yeah,
failed in a lot of
yeah.
businesses, succeeded in a few. So I learned a lot in the past how many decades. And yeah, I mean, talking about the new project, about 12 years ago, I came out with an idea. It was up and down. It was on the shelf for a while, and the exciting part is now I get to do something that I really love and miss, which is creating characters, maybe toys that people can touch physically.
So, and just to stay on the business for a little bit, because I think there's an important lesson there. You followed your instincts, you followed your dreams, and it's really not even about like any failures along the way. It's about what you learn as you're going through that process.
Absolutely. I learned from every single failure, every single success. One of the businesses was manufacturing. I did that for 5 years, manufacturing apparel, headwear, like what you're wearing. How I know all the details about that, how all the customs things you got to clear. I was a computer programmer for 6 or 7 years, doing Transact SQL and building apps and all that. So yeah, I did the full circle, man. Like there's no FOMO in me. I tried everything.
Well, and you never know, no matter how unrelated something may seem to what you're doing at the moment, you're pulling something
Yeah,
from that skill set as you move forward.
exactly. That's the wonderful part. I have all this good and bad knowledge that I can put
Yeah.
into anything almost. Like marketing wise, digital marketing, Google ads. I can build a website for you really quick and really nicely, designed well. I can build an app. I could manufacture something. So all of this comes in very handy. I mean, if I wanted to get a job somewhere, I can put in a lot of things.
Well, and that's what I want to get to now is the portion of this that is the spiritual awakening, because I think it's very important to know that you're infusing a lot of yourself and a lot of your belief into this well, and a lot of those skills into this new project. Tell us about that. How
Yeah,
you got to where you are.
it all came like 12 years ago. 12 years ago. So I was going through a divorce. It's got a low time in my life, and I had 3 little kids. And it was a tough time, and it was a time where you can say I found God. Right? I had a spiritual awakening. I learned how to pray and read the Bible. And during that time, I was learning how to pray. And during prayer, some people pray and they get just hope, they get courage, they get wisdom out of prayer. I got images and inspiration and ideas, and I would see things, right? And all these figures that I have today that I'm trying to launch, it all came from images that I saw during, you could say, meditation or prayer.
Sure.
And it was an idea. I thought it was great. There's all these stories in the Bible that came out. Like, you don't have to be a believer. You can be anybody in the world, but know what David and Goliath is. You can be in Africa and never heard of it, and you know what David and Goliath is. So I came out with all these wonderful stories, the characters in there, and I mixed it with something that I love. I grew up loving Robotech, man, and Pokemon has so many characters. Bible has a lot of characters, and I didn't want to make it like something I love. Robotech I love. I didn't want to make it like them. I don't want to make it like Gundam, which I love. I wanted something like looked a little different and mixed in some Ninja Turtle cuteness to it. And then, I came out with this. It came through those visions and some ideas that came from the Bible.
Well, that's when I received the first your people kind of reached out, and I saw the concept. It initially didn't have any images with it. I just saw Ancientz and the fact that it was based in, and I'm going to have to check my notes here because I'll Hebrews, if that is correct. Yeah, Hebrews 11.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, interesting. And I pictured something that's mentioned in your materials, Hebrews 11. I was like, okay, well, it's going to be a very Bible focused. We've seen the robed figures before.
Yeah, these don't
And
have robes or
no, I mean, these are truly unique looking robot designs. So how did you settle on this being the format for this concept?
yeah. At first,
Aside from the influence of Robotech, but they have a very unique feel.
yeah. Well, number one, Hebrews 11. The word ancients came later in the game. It was something else before prophets. We couldn't get the trademark for it. So ancients came, and it mentions the word the ancients were commended for their faith, living by faith, and like they talk about David. This is the David character. It's a robot. Eyes light up, the hair strands. This is the part of their body, the hair strand and the eyes, where their spirit is held, and their spirits are running the robots. It's not like people running robots; the spirits run the robots. And um, Hebrews 11 is actually what they call the Hall of Faith. They include all the legends and the people that are influential in the Bible. And I thought that was a perfect chapter in the Bible to name these guys ancients.
Yeah, these so for anybody that's just listening to the audio version of this episode, jump on the Needless Things YouTube channel and check out the video here because you're getting looks at these just wonderful character designs that
This is a female, actually.
I
This
know
is
I keep saying unique, but they really are just unique, wonderful designs. I love the organic look of the hair coming out of these. I mean, there's just not much to liken the robot portions of the design too, because they have a tough sturdiness to them, but like you said, they are cute.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm just showing you is the 10-inch Legends figurines. They don't have any articulations. They're just to be observed, put on your shelf. Yeah. We also have the smaller versions, which is the mini versions of what you just saw. Same light up features. Keychains, just like Labubu.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, some of the materials I've got had them on like the backpacks and stuff. And I was like, oh, I see what we're doing here.
So
That
these are the 3-inch versions of all 8 characters, and the idea is I'm designing more right now. We have Moses with Pharaoh. Pharaoh's going to look fantastic, and Sephora. We just constantly come out with new designs, and we're gonna after Kickstarter, which ends in October 1st, we're gonna continue to build these characters, design them, and launch them.
and we've got links to the Kickstarter, the website, Instagram, everything else
Yeah.
are going to be in the comments of the videos or in the check out the links in the video, and then also the audio version. Wherever you get your podcast, go to the show notes and you'll be able to get to those links there as well. And of course, on our socials, will be linked everywhere. So check out the Kickstarter for sure. So I see Goliath back there. Is he too big to move? Can we take a look at that one, or is he kind of?
He's a 20-inch version.
Good gosh!
It is pretty big, so resin figure is pretty heavy.
Oh
But
yeah.
I have the 14-inch version here.
Oh wow!
The eyes light up. He's gonna have a shield and a sword, but he's a fat one.
I've done over the past few years. I've done a lot of. I've really enjoyed the idea of toys as art and like vinyl toys and a lot of the stuff from Japan, like the collector stuff. And in a way, these are reminding me of that. Of like, look at this piece of art that I have on my shelf.
Yeah. So you know how collectibles nowadays you see Bear Bricks, you got Kid Robot.
Yeah.
I love Huck G's robots a lot, like his toys.
Mhm.
And this is a little mix of, I used to love Majinga when I'm a little older. So Majinga, Raideen,
Yeah.
mixed with a lot of these ancient looking, looks like an ancient robot, doesn't it?
I love the look of the scale mail style look of his body, and then I think there's a little Gigantor in there as well that I really dig.
Goliath is big. He was a huge warrior.
Yeah.
And they all of them, even Cicera here in the back, they have the hair strands, and that's what operates them. The eyes light up, hair strands light up, and that's the spirit force that operates the robots.
So is with this narrative, is there a time frame here? Is there an explanation of how these ancients came to inhabit these robot forms?
Yeah, I'm not a story writer. I have story ideas and all that. We're working with a couple of writers right now trying to figure out who's the right people to work with and who can match what we're looking for.
Yeah.
The idea is probably in the near future. Just imagine Terminator, Skynet. There's a company out there that came out with a technology that could manifest spirits, and it's called Luminara. It's this bowl orb with the strands. It's like a octopus, right? Different sizes, and they're clear, and it lights up when the spirit is manifested.
Okay.
So they tried to summon spirits, but it didn't work. But somehow these biblical spirits were strong enough that it would work. So Professor Ball, one of the scientists, mad scientist, steals that technology to take over the world, and he summoned all the evil characters from the Bible, and then he's taken over Los Angeles, New York, Shanghai, Tokyo, everywhere, and then slowly he wants to be the god of the planet, right? And then that's when the protagonists come back. Someone let them loose, and they're there to fight evil. And that's my baseline origin story. That's all I have. I'm trying to get somebody to go and make the episodes.
Well, that's you've done the work here. The design is ready to go, and you just need somebody to tie those threads together.
I'll put
As
this
a narrative.
Yeah, into an engaging story, right?
Well, and there's such a wealth of storytelling and morality plays from the Bible that really can be tied into something like this. I think there's a lot of potential for you not only sharing your belief and your faith, but also really creating something engaging here that people can sink their teeth into, because this is not you mentioned a lot of anime. And it's not anything new for uh, Christianity to be incorporated into those stories. I mean, we it's been done different ways over the years.
I mean, I'm not recreating Bible stories. I'm saying these stories have been around for thousands of years, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not a story I'm making up. I'm just saying these characters that were in the Bible who were in those situations are now here. Now they're in robots. How would they act in certain situations? And I'm not. This is a spirit-based toy line, but it's also just a toy line, and
yeah.
they're here based on certain stories, and it could be in any format.
But I do think the idea that these spirits are bringing forward the experiences they had in these stories or whatever, like that's shaping who they are and going into these new stories of what they're doing in this new time.
Right. It's all about their belief, their courage, and where they get their strength from.
Yeah,
If you look at, David and Goliath, David was a lowly shepherd, a kid, and all the warriors were afraid of Goliath. And this kid goes up, and he has so much faith in him. He was able to conquer giants, right? And the story of Gideon, we have Gideon, who was terrified to go to war against all tens of thousands of their enemies, but he found faith. So these are really inspiring stories, man. You got to tap into it sometimes.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So clearly, you are set for. I'm not going to say a marketing blitz, but you've got your materials together. You're ready to go with this. You said the Kickstarter ends in October.
October 1st, yeah. We just started. We'll see how it goes. I don't know what the fans will be like on Kickstarter. We're just trying it out. But we do
Yeah,
have a lot of people that are interested in this thing. So, we're looking for potential partners, investors. I'm meeting with my friends over at toy companies now. And we did film a lot of the Kickstarter at Playmates. Carl Aronian, he
nice.
volunteers. So we have a lot of friends in the industry. So we're figuring out, the best way to manufacture these, get into people's hands, and I don't know. We have ideas of maybe doing some animation or a movie in the next couple of years or so. Talking to people about it.
Well, it's interesting. I've had a lot of Kickstarters on the show, and it's very interesting now how the platform has evolved. And now, it started obviously something for independent creators to bring their creations to life, and it's still that. But now it is also something where more established creators, it almost works as a marketing tool to heighten the profile of a concept and to get it in front of more eyes than it otherwise would have been. Like I really appreciate that they've managed. It's still there for the little guy, but it is also a valuable tool for more experienced creators too. And it's impressive that they've hung on to that.
Yeah, it's my first time there. Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? But either way, we have a lot of content thanks to Kickstarter. We put a lot of effort into making the video and getting things ready. If it wasn't for it, I wouldn't have all the stuff ready to go to you, to the press, to.
Right, right. So with Ancientz, what was the initial when this came to you? What were some of the first designs that kind of came through you? Like, what were some of the first things you put on paper that really made you feel like, oh wow, this is something?
Yeah, I don't have much, but I did have some sketches I had, but it took a while. Like I said, I hated it. I hated. That's not it. I had a marketing company. I had two of the artists there drawing all day, and I never liked any of them. But then it soon came to me. If I can show you the first little thing I did, is on the wall. So
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to see it.
do you see it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's
this
great.
was like 10 years ago, man. This is if you look closely, these are Philistine soldiers being knocked down. Never finished it, but this is Samson with the long hair
Yeah, yeah.
fighting with his jawbone weapon and knocking down the Philistine soldiers.
Isn't
It's kind of big.
Was it almost more frustrating that you had a sense of exactly what you wanted than if you'd been kind of just going with the flow?
It's funny, man. When I was designing turtles, I can create one in an hour. I'm done,
Yeah.
right? But for some reason, when you have your own thing you're working on, and it has to be perfect for some reason, so I can never get it done, which is why it took 12 years. I mean, it looks similar to what I had 10 years ago, if you look
Right.
at it, but I was never happy. So whether I was an extreme control freak or what, I don't know. But Gloria Lee, I got remarried recently, 6 months ago. She's my wife. She's from marketing, from a company called Nexon, which is a video game company, pretty sizable.
Okay.
And she just told me one thing that resonated. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I realized, yeah, like if you see a Mercedes Benz, every 4 years they kind of upgrade a little bit, they evolve. I wanted one that was perfect, that would never have to change.
Yeah.
I decided to just go for it, and it came out a lot better than I anticipated.
Well, and that's what is what do they say? Perfect is the enemy of good, or something like that. Like because
Yeah,
you just you keep working away at it, and you're really never going to get there. You have to be able to step away and recognize, like, this is, well, again, I've put this work into, this design, this character, whatever the case may be, and I need to step away. And now, with what I've learned from working on this character, I can take it to the next character or concept or whatever. But if you never leave that character behind, you're never going to progress to anything else.
right. I mean, number one, there's no such thing as perfect, right?
Yeah.
Perfect's not even a word.
Right.
So yeah, so basically it evolves. Look at Iron Man, the first Iron Man, Mark One, and there's Mark Four now, or Mark Five. Batman evolves, and yeah, I mean, I realize it would have never came to fruition if I stuck at that same mentality. It has to be perfect.
Yeah.
So, like I said, doing turtles, I knocked those out in a day, and this took 12 years. So
But
here I am.
now you're here.
Yeah.
You're on the precipice of this becoming a thing, because with these designs, I look, all the form factors you showed are beautiful, but I also see like blind boxes of these. I see repaints of these. I see glow in the dark versions of these. Like, these designs, I feel like lend themselves to what's so big on the market right now. Of here's this beautiful piece of art, but also it can be interpreted in these different ways.
Right. I mean, these minis, I had this idea for a long time. That's the mini version of Cicera back there, right? You see them?
Yeah, yeah,
So these are all 3 inches tall. It was an idea that came out a while ago. And then I think Labubu just blew up, and people are buying these little things. And
yeah.
maybe the timing was perfect. You never know. You got these little keychains here.
Yeah, I mean, it is. You're right. The timing is. I mean, there sometimes these things line up. That's serendipitous. How the market, there's this market zeitgeist that happens where all of a sudden, like, I have this thing that fits into this slot right now.
Yeah. I am hoping for the best.
Well, this has been a fascinating conversation. I've loved hearing about, really, your history is just so interesting, of living the dream and then deciding, you know what, I have other dreams that I need to pursue. I have other things that I need to do, other things to learn. Very, very bold step that a lot of people wouldn't have taken, walking away from something as successful well, really, I mean, Ninja Turtles, but also just Varner Studios. And as you said, the many different licenses they had at their fingertips.
Yeah.
It was a big move. Looking back, uh, I mean, I can't imagine you've got a whole lot of regret about the business decisions that you made.
Look, I had a lot of fun at Varner Studios, and I have friends who stuck around for many years. A lot of my friends who were in the same industry forever, they're now signing autographs wherever they go to, right? The sculptors and artists. But, I loved getting into all these different fields. I enjoyed every minute of it. I enjoyed all the successes and failures. I would, like they say, I'll do it again, right? And I'm glad to be back. And Varner Studios will always be a big part of me. Steve Varner's still living 5 minutes away. We still hang out, and
That's awesome.
he's really supportive of what we're doing here. He's also in the video, the Kickstarter video.
Yeah. So, if looking back, aside from Fugitoid, if you could have just one like prototype of one of the characters or figures you did, which one would you like to have sitting on your shelf?
You know, the rapping Mike was a very fun one that I did.
Yeah. With the boxers, he's got the boxers up over. Yeah.
Yeah, the Flavor Flav clock on them.
Yes.
You know, I had so much fun doing all of them, but there was a line that came out. I forgot the name of it. I never even saw it. It was like the robots. Again, I like robots, right?
Yeah.
But it was like the Japanese gun mech robots. Do you remember them?
So my first thought was the Jim Lee ones, but it's not those. There were actual mech turtles, right?
Yes. It's funny because Jim Lee was my favorite artist back then, comic cards, and he faxed over his roughs, and I had to finish them up. I was very honored.
Yeah, that's incredible, and it was so. Okay, you may know this. They only ever released 3 turtles in the Jim Lee design. Was there ever a 4th? Did something happen there?
I don't know the details, but
okay.
The 4th was made. Was it Leo that wasn't made? I forgot which one.
I can't remember which 3 they made. I just remember at the time wondering, how can you only make 3 of the turtles?
But 5 minutes away from where I live, that 4th one exists, painted.
Oh my gosh!
You know what? I could take a picture of it next time.
What?
Steve Varner has it in his box. He would never sell it because at Comic-Con they keep asking. Yeah, the one that was never produced.
Well, with that anniversary coming up in a few years, what a box set that would be to release. Just reissue all 4 Jim Lee Ninja Turtles. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be cool. But I touched it. I have it.
Oh man, that's amazing. Well, Howard, it's been awesome talking to you. We are going to be following Ancientz very closely to see how the project goes. Everybody needs to go check out the Kickstarter. Before we go, any final thoughts about Ancientz, Turtles, or anything else?
Yeah, well, I love your support with Ancientz. This is I'm going all in with this, and I hope there will be one day a documentary about how this came to be, right? And I hope, I just need everyone's support. You know, it's so hard to launch a brand new thing. And when I was at Comic-Con, what people would always say was, you know, how many more Batmans can there be? How many more Spider-Man movies? They want something new, and hopefully this can be new, right? The new one.
I think people are starving for original IP. It's just a matter of finding that niche and getting it in there. And like you said, with the Labubus, those little minis right there, that may be that niche that gets it in there.
Maybe. Who knows, right? But we need your support. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for talking, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on today, Dave. Thanks a lot.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.